And when I confronted him with the reasons why he won't release his tax returns, and I got to that point where I said, well, maybe he's paid zero, he said that makes him smart. Now, if not paying taxes makes him smart, what does that make all the rest of us?
That was Hillary Clinton speaking today in North Carolina, and the tax return deal did come up last night in the debate big time. Joining us from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. Now, before we get to the specifics of the debate with you, were you surprised that the Time Magazine Snap poll and the WCBS TV Snap poll, which is a CBS flagship here in New York, had Trump winning fairly substantially?
Of course not, because they're totally meaningless. These are online polls. These are not random samples. The only thing that means anything, and even the randomly sampled polls have their problems, but the idea that you win because your supporters come out and click on the computer more than others tells you nothing.
All right, let me challenge though for a minute.
I guarantee you that if you had a poll on who had the better hair, Trump would get the same 80%.
Okay, but the reason I brought those two, we don't do online polling here at all, but Time Magazine is a very liberal concern, all right? And WCBS is in Manhattan, and Manhattan is way anti-Trump all over the place. So that just caught my attention, that two precincts where you would not you would not expect, then, you know, you would expect from Breitbart and those people, but not those two.
I don't think that makes any difference whatsoever. This is a measure of your enthusiasm and commitment to make a statement on behalf of Trump. And we know, just by looking at the size of the crowds, that Trump has the enthusiasm and the semi-empty halls for Hillary that she doesn't. You don't need a poll to tell you that. If you're asking who won the debate, then you've got to have a random sample. There's a reason why the Food and Drug Administration demands a random sample in testing a drug, because otherwise you end up with junk. And since health depends on getting the drugs right, we demand random samples. Not much depends on the results of the poll, but you've got to have a scientific standard, or you have nothing. Okay, you got it. That's good.
You're right. Going forward, I think the thing that will hurt Donald Trump the most, and we'll get to Hillary Clinton in a moment, is the tax return deal.
Yes.
Because, you know, it is now becoming apparent that he could release it if he wants. He doesn't want to. And there's a strong likelihood that his federal tax payments are low, so that people who do pay their quote-unquote fair share, whatever they're required to pay, they don't have massive deductions, might hold that against the very wealthy Trump.
I thought that was a real hostage to fortune, and possibly a gaffe that will develop over time.
Yeah.
Look, on the debate itself, the night itself, I thought that at the end the needle did not move, meaning the needle of support for one candidate or the other. I think each established a position. He basically said she represents 30 years status quo. If you like the world the way it is, you vote for her. That's his position. Hers was, I prepared for the debate. I prepared for the presidency. I'm a pro. I'm there. He's an amateur. Each made that case. And because he's the challenger, and he stepped on the stage and he came out alive after 90 minutes, perhaps marginally he wins in a draw. But on the issue, so if the debate had just happened in a vacuum and ended, that would have been it. But it didn't. He left two time bombs. The one is the admission. It was an effective admission. He may deny it later. But he essentially sort of prided himself in having not paid taxes, and the guy is a billionaire. And I think that could be a real issue. He'd been dodging and weaving and not releasing his taxes in order not to show that he might not have paid his taxes.
And the second one?
He couldn't resist. And the second was the Alicia Machado. The Alicia Machado, the fact that he went after her gratuitously this morning, he didn't have to. He kept that issue alive.
This was the beauty contestant.
The beauty contestant.
I don't think that's going to have legs, but I think the other one will. Now, I got to get to Hillary Clinton, and I'm up against the time clock. We're doing a live program here, as you know.
Okay.
The big deficit going forward for Hillary Clinton is there wasn't one thing that she said that was innovative, that was different from the Obama administration, or that was anything other than what we've heard a million times. It's the same.
I agree. And that's why I thought it was a draw in that sense. She didn't advance her case.
Nothing.
He didn't advance his case. But look, debates are not done on TKOs, points, who won the rounds. Debates are decided on
Perception.
overall impression.
Right, perception.
Yeah, and there was no knockout zinger.
That's right.
There was no "I knew John Kennedy."
Right.
So in the absence of that, I think it's a question of demeanor. I thought her demeanor was good. She was much more composed than he was. But nonetheless, I don't think the difference was enough to overcome the fact that he's the challenger, and he was on the stage with her.
Fox News poll comes out Friday. Other polls will begin on Wednesday. Charles, thank you as always.
And those, Bill, are